This is a public sector scenario for Open UI in the social sector. As you can see, with this intake worker has decided to use the left-hand navigation tree paradigm that comes with Open UI. In this paradigm, you can navigate using the left-hand side of the screen instead of what were traditionally screen tabs across the top. This is also collapsible so that you can take advantage of the full screen real estate when you're not using it. So first we'll navigate to the contact list. We'll collapse our sidebar here. Then we're going to query for Jordan Adams, who has called into the office to inquire about when his next appointment is for his family with their social worker. As you can see, there are several Jordan Adams records that have come up for us. Traditionally, if someone is calling in, we may ask them for some additional information, such as where they live, their date of birth, or other things in order to figure out which of the records that we've retrieved might be. So you can see we've got the date of birth field here. We also have their address along with the Google Map hover that allows us to see a small map of the area in which they live in case this could help us. What we've also done with the Open UI framework is we've added a picture of each of these contacts in by hovering over the notify field, so that if someone is presenting in person, you can quite easily see the person that's in front of you and confirm that that's the correct contact. Or if this is someone that's familiar, we can find the right one more easily. In this example, it's this Jordan Adams, the final one here on the list, that is the correct one. So we'll drill into his record and we'll see what his involvement is existing with the ministry to see how we can best carry on with service for Jordan. As you can see on this contact summary view, he hasn't got a lot of previous involvement. He does have one case, and this must be the case that he's calling to confirm with the appointment for his social worker. While we're here, we want to look and see if there's anything we need to know about Jordan's family that should be passed along to the social worker. We'll navigate to the party relationship view. We can see that the contact has several family members that are in the system. He has a daughter, a foster child, an ex-spouse, a current spouse, and a grandmother. We can also see that the daughter's record here is highlighted in bright red and has an alert icon. This indicates that there is an alert on that contact's record. And if we hover over that alert icon, we can see the actual text of that alert in order to be able to figure out what's going on with his daughter before drilling down on the record. So if we hover over, we can see that Karen has been diagnosed with epilepsy and that she could have seizures triggered by a variety of visual stimuli. This is important for the social worker to know so that we don't inadvertently trigger Karen's epilepsy. So knowing that, we'll go on to Jordan's request at hand, which was to confirm the time of the appointment that the family has with the social worker. So we can see on the activities for Jordan that he's going to have an appointment on October 4th at 11 a.m. So we'll confirm that with Jordan over the phone. We'll also make a note for him here that that has been passed along. So I'll make that note on his contact record and save it. At that point, the intake worker has completed their work. They've gone through, verified with Jordan what he wanted to know, and we're ready to log out of the system and return as the caseworker for when Jordan and his family come in for their visit. As we continue with the scenario, we've now logged in as the caseworker. As you can see, this caseworker has chosen to use the traditional screen tab paradigm for navigation, and they've chosen a different color scheme than the intake worker had chosen. From the caseworker's homepage, we can drill right down into Jordan's case and start reviewing what's going on with the family. So we'll go into the contact tab on the case, and as you can see, we've got the same family members that we saw earlier when we had pulled up Jordan's contact record. Karen's record is still highlighted in red because she has that alert, and that alert text is visible from here as well in order to save you the trouble of going and drilling into Karen's contact record. What we also have from here is the pictures of the family members available from the last name, so you can get familiar as the caseworker with the family before they come in. The other thing that the caseworker has in front of her here is the ability to see how many records are in any given tab before drilling into those tabs. This will definitely save some clicks if, for example, we know that there are no related cases because there's a 0 there. As the caseworker, I wouldn't bother navigating to that view. Instead, I would concentrate my time on seeing what the notes were previously recorded on the case, or what service requests are currently active. Currently, we've done a simple count of the records in those views. It was definitely possible to extend this to just showing the most recent notes, for example, or the open service requests, or things that would be relevant to that caseworker as they're reviewing the case. The other thing that we've added here are charts based on the activities that are going on in the case. These are produced using iframes, and the reason that we've included them in the Open UI is to prove that the iframes are still working with this new framework. Here we've got activities in charts. We could also be charting things like benefits that have been dispersed to date versus what they're entitled to, different things over time, etc. In this particular visit, Jordan and the family are requesting a new service. So we'll go to the Service Request tab where the caseworker has already started working on the new service request. As we drill into the Service Request tab, we notice right away that there is an Activities window in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now this will disappear on its own in a few seconds, or if we want to pin it to the screen, we can click on the gray activity bar to have it persisting here. So we'll keep it there for a few moments. The reason that we would want this persistent activities applet to appear here so we can work through the workflow of whatever the service request requires us to do without having to return to the activity plan tab each and every time we want to mark an activity as complete. So if we've reviewed the documentation, we've attached it, and now we're going to obtain consent and signatures, we may go to the Notes tab to make note of the fact that we have got that consent. Save the note, and at the same time, without leaving this view, mark in that the consent was obtained. This is allowing us to continue to go through the activity plan without having to worry about going and returning to the activity plan tab. As we carry on with this activity plan, the next thing that we're going to need to do is create a new case for this contact. To do that, we'll drill into the contact record. We've now returned to the contact summary, and that's where we'll create the new case. So this type of case will be child services. And what we're going to do is, because it's not this particular caseworker's area of expertise, we're going to go into this case and we're going to reassign it to another caseworker. That caseworker will take over as the team member. So we've assigned this additional caseworker. This caseworker is going to carry on with the case into the mobile scenario and go out into the field to visit this family in person in their home to help continue delivering services. So with that, we'll transition into the second caseworker on the iPad. Our second caseworker has logged into the Siebel application using his iPad as he prepares to go out into the field and visit the Adams family in person at their home. You can see that the navigation paradigm on the iPad is again different from what it was in Open UI on the desktop. We've got the screen tabs here represented by icons, and the one that you're currently on is highlighted in blue. The ribbon represents the PDQs for the current screen that you're on. So if we search again for the Adams family, we'll bring up a number of different Adams records. Now, one other feature of Open UI in the iPad is that we can bring up a map that will plot all of the results of the current query onto a map and show us in relation to where we currently are. So we're in Victoria, Canada at the moment, and the clients that this caseworker wants to go and see are in California. If we click on the plus sign icon, it will bring up a second window which will show us directions to all of the different points on this map. On a real iPad, there would also be the opportunity to zoom in using the multi-gesturing. At this point, the caseworker would go ahead and get directions to the location of their clients and carry on with the regular case management.